Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having an awesome week. Recently we've had a fair few new distillers showing up on the channel, which is awesome. It's really cool to have you here, guys. Welcome. But what it does mean is I've been seeing a lot more questions like this from Potu onto us. I don't know how to say your name, sorry man. But basically what he or she is saying is that they like the look of this hobby, they would like to get into it, but they just don't know where to start. So that is what we're doing today, guys. Distilling 101, where do you start and how do you get into this hobby? Hey guys, welcome to Still It. I'm Jesse and this is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. So if that's what you're into, guys, stick around. This might just be the channel for you, and if it is, it'll be awesome to have you on board. Hit that subscribe button and you won't miss anything. Woo! I don't know what we've got myself into here. This is going to be a tricky one, guys, and it might go long, I'm not sure. First up, if you don't know my story, I've been doing this for about 10 months now, making videos and distilling, and essentially this channel is all about sort of me teaching myself that, learning along with you guys and getting stuck in. So while I am not a super experienced distiller, I feel like I am in a good place to help you guys figure out how to start your journey. Oh my god, I said the J word. And get into this hobby yourself. So before I even start going through the list of 10 things that I think you should do to get into this hobby, I want to preface it with this. Before you even start, you need to figure out what your goals are here. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to get stuck into distilling? If you just kind of want to be able to make cheap booze to get pissed on, I gotta say this probably isn't the channel for you. No offense, but that's just kind of not what the crew here are about. If, on the other hand, what you want to do is get really stuck into chasing the craft of making something that's really, really good and honing a skill, you know, more about the process and more about doing what you love than about just drinking booze, you've come to the right place, guys. And I also think that you've got the right mentality and the right personality for this hobby, because I gotta say the learning curve is pretty freaking steep when you first get started. Which leads me to point number 1. You need to start finding some resources to learn from. And there's gonna be a lot of learning. Obviously you found one right here, Still It, but I have to say straight away, whatever you find, make sure that you get at least 2 different resources that you feel you resonate with. And the reason for that is distilling is one of those hobbies that's still evolving. It's still not a entirely solved problem, I guess you would say, and that there's different people with different opinions on different things, and you do not want to get stuck in an echo chamber just hearing people say the same things over and over again. For me, I enjoy the Home Distiller Forum, the New Zealand Home Distiller Forum, and the Firewater subreddit. But there are a whole host of other online communities out there that are awesome, and I thoroughly suggest that you kind of figure out what's right for you. Now, I totally get it if some of you are not into the online thing, videos, forums. I will suggest one book which seems to be the most popularly suggested book for distillers, and that is the Complete Distiller. Once again, just remember that a book is literally just, you know, like one resource. It's not even a group of people. So just be careful when you pick up a book or another resource like that, that you really make sure to check your knowledge elsewhere as well. So that leads directly into point number 2, which is to start learning. Which might sound really obvious, but to be honest, from here on in, you're never going to stop learning. Ever. At this point, it is totally normal for you to feel completely overwhelmed with all the lingo, the jargon, the concepts itself, all the safety stuff that people are throwing around. There is just so much knowledge that you need to pick up, at least sort of 80% of it before you can really get past this point. So at this point in time, when you're at step number 2, don't stress about not understanding everything that people are talking about. Just try and learn the lingo, learn the general concepts of how distilling works, learn the general misconceptions that people have, because chances are you're going to have to get over that yourself as well. Once you're starting to get a handle on that and you feel like you're understanding sort of 60 to 70% of what people are saying in any one resource, you're going to work into number 3, which is probably the most important thing on this entire list, which is to learn the safety aspect of home distilling. I think it should be pretty obvious why I say that safety is probably the most important thing in this hobby, right? Turns out that it actually is a whole lot more safe than the general public conception of it, but you can still get yourself in trouble, guys. If you nail the research on this part, it frees you up to experiment with everything else, and if you fail, you're not going to do something horrible. It just means you're going to have to start over again. You get me? So please do not skimp on the safety research. Once you're at this point, you've probably got enough knowledge to have a general idea of how distilling works, and you know how to make sure that you are safe and everyone else is safe around you while you're doing this. At this point, you want to start looking at number 4, which is to start deciding what you really want to do. What do you really want to get out of this hobby? What do you enjoy drinking? What do you enjoy about hobbies? What is attractive to you about home distilling? And then to figure out how to start going down that path towards getting that enjoyment for yourself. So are you a whiskey guy or girl? Are you into gin, vodka, infusions, port, sherry, whatever? What are you into? What's going to make you happy? And the reason that you want to start thinking about this now is it is going to influence your choice for number 5. Number 5 is to start deciding on the type of equipment that you think you might want to either build or buy. So at this point in time, you're going to be thinking about things like, how big do I want my still to be? How much do I want to be making? How long do I want to be running it for? How much time do I want to invest on run day? Those sorts of things. And then what sort of boiler you want. The boiler is the part of the still where you put the wash to heat it up. What sort of style of boiler do you want? How do you want to heat that boiler? Are you going to use electricity or gas? And then we start to get to the really fun stuff, which is what kind of still you want to put on top. For me personally, I am using a CCVM hybrid still, which means that it is a CCVM still that I can also run as a pot still when I cap the top. So we don't have time to go into exactly what that is right now, but like I said, there will be links for all of this stuff up here. Essentially what I'm getting at is that you want to decide whether or not you want to be running a reflux still to create neutral spirits, vodka and gin, those sorts of things, or more of a pot still, or a still more designed to carry flavor over from the wash to make things like rum, whiskey, like bourbon and scotch style things, and so on and so forth. There's no right or wrong here, guys. It's just what you want to make. What is going to make you happy? Figure out what you want to make and then decide what the best tool to make that product is, so you've got the best chance at succeeding. And lastly, you need to decide whether or not you're going to buy something or build something. And because distilling is the way it is around the world, sometimes it's not that easy to get much options for a still to purchase. So a lot of home distillers that are really into the craft of their hobby will end up building their own, either because they can't find what they want for the price point they want, or they just want to learn how to do it. So I made this still and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was frustrating, it was a pain in the ass, but now that I've done it, I'm so happy I did. And honestly, guys, if I could figure out how to put this thing together, I'm sure all of you can. Like I said, I'm relatively good at learning stuff, I guess, but I had no prior experience at brazing, welding, soldering, anything like that. So it was a bit of an experience. It's not perfect, but I got the job done. But I do have to say that the boiler was donated to the channel. I did not make that myself or buy it. It was donated by English Hill Distillery. You are an absolute legend, dude, and thank you again for that. So once you have either purchased a still or got the process of building a still sort of on the way, you're probably going to want to start really looking into specific recipes of what you want to make. Once again, this is totally personal preference, and it's going to depend on your previous experience, how ambitious you want to be when you get stuck into something. But I do want to give you a couple of options of things that you can look up right now and get stuck in with super quick. First of all is the UJSSM. This is the most recent thing that I have made, and this is really fun and super rewarding to make, guys. I can thoroughly recommend this one. Essentially, this is a sugar wash that is sort of pretending to be something like a bourbon, I guess, or a Tennessee whiskey. So it means you don't have to mess around with enzymes, you don't have to mess around with a mash. It's super fast and easy to make, but it gives you a kick-ass result. I can totally testify to that. Next up, I want to recommend Teddy Sad's Fast Fermenting Vodka, because once again, it is a sugar wash, no mash required, and it is going to get you an awesome result. For a wheat style vodka, which is really good for infusions, I've been having a whole lot of fun with this. And lastly, a cardot top for my bastard whiskey, which was supposed to be a all grain Scotch impersonation, which didn't quite work out that way, but I think it gives you a little bit of an insight into the world of doing a full mash. This one is almost 4 months old now, I guess, and it's just starting to get kind of tasty, so once again, I can totally recommend this one as well. Before you actually get stuck in and run something through your still, there's one last thing you need to do, which is to clean it. Basically, the process of building a still can leave all sorts of things on the inside of this thing that you do not want to drink. So there is a tried and true method which I would thoroughly recommend you look into and follow before you get started actually putting spirits for drinking through your still. So number 8 is try, fail, learn, adjust, try again, rinse and repeat. Essentially, guys, I'm talking about chasing the craft. That's the whole point of this channel. What I'm saying is you can't be scared to fail at this point. You can't be scared about messing it up. And at the end of the day, if you're being safe and you're learning, you're not failing at all. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, even if you're not getting the exact result that you are hoping for. So to put it another way, guys, it is one of those things that you just need experience. You need to learn, you need to do it, you need to screw up, learn from your mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes, adjust, try different things, see what happens, so on and so forth. It's just one of those hobbies. So it is going to be frustrating at times, I know it sure as hell is for me, but enjoy the process. Number 9 is the last sort of main topic that I want to talk about, which is the idea of aging. And this honestly is pretty controversial, but I'll break it down really quickly the way that I look at it, and the 2 things that you probably want to start researching pretty quickly, especially if you want to make wood-aged products like whiskey. Try to think about the process of turning a white spirit into a wood-aged brown spirit in 2 parts. The first is aging, which is literally just time, and there's not really any way to cheat this, although there are some ways I guess you could look up. And the second is the process of oaking or wooding, I guess you'd call it. The process of taking the flavors, the aromas, and the colors out of the wood and putting it into the spirit for your enjoyment. So once again, guys, there are links down below, but just keep that in mind when you start doing some research, and hopefully that'll put you on the right track. So if you're at this point now, you've reached number 10, which essentially means you've got all the basics down, you've got a little bit of experience under your belt, you pretty much know the process start to finish, and now you can start experimenting, maybe doing a little bit of weird stuff that other people haven't done before, or you can start really honing in on what it is that you want to do. And I think I personally am just starting to arrive at that stage now, which is pretty exciting, I gotta say. So there you have it, team, 10 steps that I would suggest you follow in that order to go from having no clue about distilling up to a point where you've got a solid understanding and some experience around the hobby and you're making some killer products for yourself. I know that videos like this can be super frustrating because all you want to do is just get the information and get started. But honestly, guys, it's not one of those hobbies. You can't just jump straight in from nowhere. So what I'm hoping to do with this video is in some ways filter out the people that just want to drink cheap booze. And like I said, guys, if that's what you're into, then all power to you, but that's not what this channel's about. So anyway, guys, if you are new to the hobby, I hope that helped and gave you a point to start. Feel free to ask whatever questions you want down below. I always do my best to reply to every comment, whether it's a new video or my oldest video. I always do what I can to reply to everything. So feel free to ask questions, and remember to look at the comments down below as well, guys, because there's people that'll be commenting on this video that know a hell of a lot more about this hobby than me. In any case, guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. That really helps me out. And if you really like the video, have a think about subscribing and checking out all the other content. I will see you next week. See ya.